Godzilla Kong: The New Empire has just released across the globe. And let's just say, we got a ton of Godzilla and Kong action. And if you've gotten to see the movie already, you might be wondering right now what Kong and Godzilla were up to before the events of the new movie. Something that's not really explained throughout the film. Residents, this is Jacob, welcome to Dangerville. In Godzilla Kong the Hunted, a graphic novel prequel story to The New Empire, we got a glimpse of at least some of the lore that happened in the time between movies, and that's what we're going to explore with this video. We get some good backstory on both Kong and Godzilla, so strap up and let's get to this Monsterverse lore. Now, in The New Empire, it's pretty much stated that Kong was going around looking for others of his kind throughout the majority of the last few years in the Hollow Earth. And on top of that, the big guy's just been trying to survive, and we get to see that in the first few pages of The Hunted. As Kong kneels down beside a river to grab a quick drink, he's suddenly attacked by a new monster called the Spine Prowler. Luckily for Kong though, he's much larger and more powerful than the Spine Prowler. The Prowler gives Kong a good fight, but it's not long before the big ape skips the monster across the ground like a stone across a pond. And after that, the Spine Prowler decided it had enough of that whole situation and got the heck out of there. Little did it know that its fate was about to get much worse. A man called Raymond Martin had set up an elaborate and barbaric trap for the monster. And we'll learn more about Raymond's idea for this monster here soon, but for now let's get to Godzilla. Turns out the big guy never stopped being hostile after his big battle with Kong, and is still traveling across the world making sure that everything is balanced and in line. Tracking him is Bernie Hayes, and he gives his podcast listeners, or us the readers, a play-by-play recap of what Godzilla's been doing in a sense. And the first time we see Godzilla in this comic, he's attacking an abandoned oil rig. It's not explained why Godzilla's doing this, but they do make a good point of telling us that Godzilla has his reasons. In the Monsterverse, this version of Godzilla doesn't just attack for no reason. Now let's get back to the Titan hunter Raymond Martin. Here we see his James Bond-like villain lair. And turns out he needs it to store all of his trophies, which are monsters from the Hollow Earth and Skull Island that he's been going around and hunting, and we'll explain why he has a hatred for the Titans here soon. One of the best parts of the Monsterverse, at least I think, is seeing Kong just take in the views. Every single movie that he's been in, there's a scene where we see him just staring off into the distance, and I really love that. Now, as he peers out into the distance, something catches his eye, and Kong decides he needs to investigate, so he flies across the Hollow Earth, jumping and climbing and running, eventually coming across a giant cave riddled with Titan remains. And here we see some cave art detailing significant events within the Monsterverse. Now back to Martin, we finally see what his true plan is. A giant 400-foot tall mech, called the Titan Hunter. Well, this thing looks like it's straight out of Pacific Rim, and well, it fights like a Jaeger, and we're gonna get to that here soon. But for now, let's get back to Bernie. After attacking the oil rig, Godzilla is once again on the move, and we finally realize why. Turns out he's been chasing down the Titan Scylla for quite some time. After Godzilla King of the Monsters, it appears like Scylla is the only Titan deciding to do, well, whatever she wants, completely refusing Godzilla's command to stand down. And now the giant crustacean is coming ashore off the coast of India, taking the same path as Godzilla. Back on the Titan Hunter's island, we get to see the Titan Hunter mech in full action as Raymond decides to use the captured Spine Prowler as practice before he goes to the Hollow Earth and tries to kill as much Titans as he can. This is where we see just how cruel this man is. He doesn't just kill the beast, he kinda toys with it for a while, which really shows his dark nature. Quickly powering down the mech, we learn why Godzilla is going after all these random locations and attacking them. And it's because Raymond and his team have been putting up decoys all over the planet. So Godzilla's focused on them, and not his big Titan hunting powerful mech, making sure Godzilla's always focused on something else so he could do whatever he wanted. And this decoy is also provoking Titanicilla. Placing the decoy beside a nuclear reactor, everybody is thinking that the Titan is simply attacking these places to get more energy. And that is ultimately what this monster's goal is here, to suck up all the radiation that comes from the reactors. But by placing the decoy near this reactor, nobody's looking at Raymond and his technology. And we get a gripping display of how Scylla feeds off of radiation, spewing out some sort of fog-like pollutant, which somehow allows Scylla to suck it all back in, feeding off of the radiation in the air. And now we finally get to see the motivation behind Raymond hunting the Titans. Turns out during the Mechado attack in 2014, his entire family was killed in the chaos. So now he's hellbent on revenge, and he will forever hate the Titans and want all of them dead. This is why the man is so disgustingly violent with the Titans. He doesn't just want to kill them, he wants to torture them, probably to make up for all the pain that he's felt over the years. After attacking India, Scylla next appears in the United Kingdom, on her way to a uranium pellet manufacturing plant looking to feed some more. After the second attack, Bernie makes a bold claim to his listeners. Perhaps Scylla's having offspring, so she needs all the fuel she can have to feed them. Or maybe she's powering up to be able to face off against Godzilla. Either way, it has the big G-Man pissed off. But by the time he makes it to this location, Scylla is yet again gone. And we're about to get to the conclusion of Godzilla hunting Scylla, which actually leads into what happens in the new Empire movie. But let's go back to Raymond, as he's now entering the Hollow Earth. With Godzilla clearly distracted, Raymond understands that now is the best time to commence his hunt. His first victim, a warbat, getting itself a drink by some riverside. The big giant mech sneaks up on the warbat, grabs it before it has any idea of what's about to happen, picks the thing up, and then slams it onto a rock, snapping its spine. Next, Raymond kills a helpless Skur buffalo, which even causes his employees to question his motives. After taking out the warbat and the Skur buffalo, Raymond finds the tracks of a feline-like titan, now on the titan's trail. What he comes across first is not the adult spine prowler, but actually her babies. Martin had no hesitation about wanting to kill these infant titans, and he was going to before Mama showed up. But before the end of that battle, we gotta go back to Godzilla. Scylla's now in Rome, and finally catching up to her, Godzilla. And now this is cool because this leads directly into what we see in the movie. And so the Hunted set that battle up, which I think is a pretty cool way of combining both types of media here. But now back to Kong. We know just how much Kong hates senseless killing. He does plenty of it himself, but usually out of survival alone. And he takes this aggression out on Martin's big machinery and trucks. In the distance, Martin has no idea what's going on. He's deadlocked in combat with the mother spine brawler, and she actually gives the Titan Hunter mech a good fight, proving that an angry mother can be quite the challenge when defending her young. Alas though, it's all for nothing, as the mama spine prowler jumps at the mech. Raymond leans it forward, causing the spine prowler to impale itself on the giant horn located at the top of the mech. Oddly, Raymond actually goes against his nature here and compliments Mama, saying that she was indeed a worthy adversary. But then he instantly goes back to being a sick, twisted individual, asking about where the cubs are so he could go and kill them now. And it doesn't take long before he finds them. The infants do their best part at scaring off the man, but they're just babies. Unfortunately for Raymond, Kong's not. And we get the big battle between Kong and the Titan Hunter mech. To end the battle, Kong does a WWE-style wrestling move, flipping the big giant mech over his back and over the side of a cliff. Kong, being the good guy that he is, grabs the mech, actually giving the man a chance to come to terms with the fact that he's lost. However, Kong must have sensed that the man had no interest in stopping his hunt. He was never going to stop killing titans until he died himself. And this is when Kong decided to let go. Kong casually looks back at the infant spine prowlers and goes on about his day. Down at the bottom of the mountain, the giant mech was destroyed, but Raymond had survived the fall, although he probably wishes he hadn't. The infant spine prowlers are just like him. They're very vengeful, and you can imagine what happened next. And if you want more Monsterverse lore videos like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell if you haven't already, and leave the video a like if you think I earned it. Share this thing around to your Monsterverse lore loving fans so we can get the algorithm all fired up. It really does help, and I will see you all in the next one.